Hello everybody and welcome to Sin City Living. My name is Jason. I'll be bringing you today's episode. So today we're going to go over the power press. We're going to go back over the power press. Now I'm going to do things in slightly different than normal in the further videos on. Instead of doing the okay to good and then great to fantastic rolls, I'm actually going to show the power press under different table minimums and table maximums because the general goal of the power press is a little bit different. So we've had quite a few questions lately about the power press and the difference between mid press and power press. And one thing I'll say, mid press is not take half your winnings and reinvest it. It seems that way, but it's more just taking standard jumps while still racking up some money, still collecting some. It's kind of like a collect some, press some kind of thing. At its early levels, it does kind of look like you're just pressing half. But once you start getting a little bit further on, it's more that you're just pressing to standard types of bets. The power press is different in that the power press is basically a mentality of leaving with all the chips or none of the chips. More often than not, it's going to be none of the chips. There's no way to avoid that. When you're really not collecting most of the time, you're going to lose. You're going to lose most of the time. But when you do win, it is absolutely huge. The biggest wins that I have ever seen booked by a player are always power press players. In fact, the only wins that I've ever seen that are, say, 15, 20 times the initial investment towards the shooter are power press wins. It's the only method I've ever seen that, you know, if someone has $100 invested initially into the shooter, that they end up coloring up to $2, $3, $4, up to $60, $70, $80,000. And same things with the higher level. Someone that is on a higher level and is $1,000 invested into the player at the very beginning of the roll, ends up coloring up a few $100,000. It's only with the power press. It's the only one that I have personally seen. I do have some friends that have seen other methods. Typically, they involve just immediately putting the point for table max. So the power press is really the only one that's going to make the ridiculous amounts of money. However, it loses more often than it wins. Now, the reason that I'm not going to, I'm going to get rid of the puck for this. The reason that I am not going to do the typical statistical likelihood of rolls is because the power press, more so than any other strategy, is based around breaking those statistics in a way. It's looking for one particular number to roll more times than is statistically likely. Typically just 6 or 7 times. Not too long ago, I saw a 6 roll like 14 or 15 times. The other day, I saw a 5 roll 11 times, twice in one night. And that's what the power presser is looking for. They're looking for one number that just rolls a crap ton of times. So typically, if you went with statistical likelihood, it would take an hour and a half to 2 hour roll for one number to roll 8 to 10 times. But in reality, on any given night, you're going to have at least one number that will roll 10 or more times on one person's shift, one person's roll, at least once throughout the shift. And that's what the power presser is looking for. So I'm going to start off with today's video, kind of introducing the power press and showing it on, say, a $10 minimum bet table going up towards, I don't know, $2,000. $2,000 max bet. So $10 minimum bet, $2,000 max bet. For our patrons, we will live roll this when we are finished. And for anybody that's interested in that, go ahead and take a look at the description of the video down below. Otherwise, let's go ahead and get into this. So unlike most of the strategies, I'm actually going to start the player out with a budget. Typically we don't, because we just talk about what we have put into play. But in this case, because with the power press you're throwing more money in, we're going to start off with an actual budget to show. So we're going to start off with $100 because, again, $10 minimum bet table, right? So the player would go 64 across. I just locked that up. I don't know why. 64 across. So they would have $36 left. So they would do 64 across including. Now, what, again, the power press player is trying to do is they just want one number that rolls more than is statistically likely. So I'm going to kind of skip around just so that the chips don't sort of visually blend in together. I'm going to show what the power press player is trying to do on the 4, then I'm going to show it on the 9, then I'm going to show it on the 6. That way, because the 4 and the 10 would be the same, 5 and 9 would be the same, 6 and 8 would be the same. That way, as I stack the money up in front, you kind of get an idea of what the progression is and what the player is trying to do. And what we're going to look at 10 hits on the same number. We're going to look at how many hits it takes to get to table max, and then just 10 hits of the same number, how much you would make in profit. So let's look at the 4. So with the 4, we're starting out at $10. Now, some places that's a buy, some places it is not a buy. So we're going to, let me get some more change for this player. We're going to treat it as if it's not a buy. So that's going to pay $18. So they're going to throw in $2 so that they can get paid $20, and they're going to stack it all up, which makes it $30. Now this is typically not one of the better places to be because it's the very beginning stage of where the VIG has gone up. So you're paying a $2 VIG on a $30 bet. You'd also pay a $2 VIG on a $50 bet. So you're kind of, in a way, paying more VIG for less money. But that's kind of a standard progression right here for the PowerPress player. So they have had one hit right now. Okay, one hit. I'm just going to mark that right there. They've had one hit. And they've had to throw in an extra $2 already. So the next hit, they're going to throw in $2 again. And this is going to pay $60. And they are going to stack it all up. Now, some players would throw in an extra $10 and go all the way up to $100, but there's really no need for that. You can just throw in the VIG and be happy with that. Now, we're going to assume a $5 VIG here. Some places may charge $4. So that 90 is going to pay $180 with the $5 VIG, okay? So they get $180. And now you look at what you have to work with. You've got $270. Now this is a point where they actually are going to collect a little bit, most players, just because you want to keep your bets somewhat simplified. So they're going to go up to $250. That's a fairly simplified number, fairly easy. So this is going to have a $12 VIG, $5 per 100, and then the other 50 is a $2 VIG. So they're going to throw in their $12 for their VIG, and now they get paid $500. PowerPress is going to stack it all up. So now they're at $750, which would be a $37 VIG. Oh, they don't have enough there. We'll take it out of the bet. Right? So it's going to pay $1,500 minus 37. So that's $1,463. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and grab some yellow chips. So it's going to pay $1,463. They're going to go up to, most PowerPress players at this point are going to go up to $1,500. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Table Max. Because they have enough. As soon as you have enough, you go to Table Max. It's when you don't have enough that you kind of go to some minor levels, some other different stages. So on the 5th hit, they're at Table Max. Didn't throw anything in, just collected. It's another reason not to throw the VIG in. You can already hit Table Max, so there is no need. So we say a $2,000 Table Max. And now they're at $2,000 after 5 hits on the 4. Yes, this is fairly rare, but 8 to 10 hits on any number is fairly rare. It happens every single night. I see 5 hits on a 4 or a 10 every single night. At least one shooter is going to have that happen. Typically multiple shooters. There's not that many PowerPress players out there. And what's funny to me is almost every single time this happens, we have a PowerPress player or two in the building. They just happen to be on a different table. Every so often, though, yeah, they're on the right table. I know of a couple PowerPressers that have bought in with $100 and colored up $60,000, $70,000. Just in the last couple of years, I can tell you, last few years, I can think of a few. So now, that's 5 hits. And I said I was going to show up to 10 hits. Well, every hit after that, the player is going to be winning $4,000. You know, minus the VIG, minus $100 VIG. So they're going to be winning $3,900 every single hit. Okay, so $4,000 times 5 is $20,000. Right? So they're going to win $20,000. You know, again, minus their VIG, so minus 500. So if we really wanted to, we could go ahead and change this to 4,500. And that right there is why people play the PowerPress, the ones that do. because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to have that one number that ends up paying them thousands of dollars every single hit. Typically, when I used to play the power press, I don't anymore now that I have a wife and kids and a lot more bills, but I used to play the power press all the time. And generally, if I were to hit table max on a number, I would collect on the next hit, and then after that, I would probably use it to table max another number. Right? Now, typically, the other numbers will also be up there a little bit because it's unlikely that they're just going to just roll all the same number back to back to back to back. So, typically, the other ones are up there. You know, if I have one at table max, I probably have at least one other number that's at 500 or 1,000, somewhere in that range. So, the second hit of my table max, I will typically use it to put the other number at the next most common one to have been hit at table max and take the remainder that was already on there, or I might pick a 6 and 8. So 5 hits to go from $10 to $2,000 on a 4 or a 10. So let's look at the 6 or 8, and then we'll do the 9. So 6 or 8. So the first hit, they're going to throw in $4. And they're going to go to 30. The second hit, okay, so that's the first hit, and they throw in $4. So the second hit, they're going to throw in $1. They're going to stack it all up to 66. So now they've thrown in $1, thrown in another $1. So they've thrown in a total of $5 at this point. Now the next hit is where they generally throw in the most. They throw in $7. The next hit, they throw in $7, and that brings their bet up to $150. Okay, because they're at 66, which pays 77. That gives you $143 to work with. So they go up to 150. So the next hit is where they'll collect a green, and they'll go up to 300. Now after that, it generally just becomes straight presses. And that's the point where they're going to be collecting just a little bit. Now, from $10 or $12 in this case, up to $2,400, 2, 4, 6, 7 hits. 7 hits gets you there. Going up to 30, 66, 150, 300, 600, 1,200, 2,400. 6 hits from $12 up to $2,400 if we have a $2,400 table max. That means the remaining 4 hits, you're going to make $2,800 a piece. $2,800 a piece. That is what, $11,200? Those remaining 4 hits, if you did the 10 hits, the remaining 4 would pay $11,200. It's not bad. So now let's look at a 5 and a 9. So the 5 and 9, they're going to throw in $1 the first hit, and they're going to go to a green. Okay, so the first hit, they throw in $1. They go to a green. Second hit, stack it all up. Third hit, they're going to throw in $6. And they're going to take it up to 150. The fourth hit, 150 pays 210. Okay, we'll go ahead and collect the $10 and go up to 350. Okay, now 350 pays 490. They can throw in the $10 to collect 500 and take it all the way up if they want. Now, a lot of players at this point are only going to take it up to 750. The reason for that is because you have a fairly common payout from here, $1,050. 75 pays 105, so 750 pays $1,050. $1,050. There's this next hit. Now you'll notice that the player does not have enough to make it up to table max from here. So they're not going to. This is one where they keep it fairly simple, 1,500, and they collect some. Well, Now the next hit, 1,500 pays $2,100, $2,100. Now they're at table max. 2, 4, 6, 7 hits. 7 hits, they're at table max. Which means the remaining 3 hits, well, I actually did this one wrong. It was 3 hits, not 4 hits, making $2,800. My fault. It'd be $8,400 that they would make. $8,400 on those remaining hits. My fault. So now they're in a very, very similar situation. Here, 7 hits. Now after that, they're going to make $2,800 per hit for those remaining 3 hits. Again, $8,400. That is why people play the power press, because they're looking for one number, basically to roll 8 times. That's it. One number to roll 8 times. If it's an inside number, if it's a 5 or a 4 or a 10, all they need is one number to roll 6 times, and they're going to collect thousands off of a small initial investment. Okay. Thank you everybody for watching. Thanks for the coffees, everybody, by the way. And yeah, the next video we will show this on a $25 minimum bet table to say a $5,000, maybe a $10,000 max bet. Maybe I'll do $50 minimum bet and $10,000 max bet. So stay tuned. Thank you for watching, everybody. Catch you next time. Bye now. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sin City Living. My name is Jason. I'm bringing you today's episode. Once again, we're going over the power press. This time we are showing the power press progressions on a slightly higher limit table. We're going to do $50 minimum bet table going up to a $10,000 maximum bet. We're going to show how the progressions go, how many hits the player is looking for in order to get to table max, which is the entire point behind the power press. So generally losing money almost every roll, hoping for that one roll where one number rolls multiple times. That kind of beats the statistics. For our patrons out there, we will live roll this once we've finished the 3 initial videos. Anybody that's curious about those or any of the other exclusive videos, just go ahead and check the description down below. Otherwise, let's take a look. So I said we're looking at a $50 max or minimum bet. So we would actually be at 60 on the 6 and 8. Now I'm going to show this on the 4, on the 6, and on the 9, because the 4 and 10 will be the same, 5 and 9 will be the same, and 6 and 8 will be the same. Okay. So for the 4, the very first time it hits, you're going to have to throw in $2. You're going to throw in $2. It's going to pay $100, and it's going to go all the way up. The second time it hits, they're going to have to throw in $7 to pay the vig, and this is going to pay $300. And once again, they're going to go all the way up. That puts them at $450. That means they have a $22 vig on the next hit, which is going to pay $900. So let's look at what they currently have to work with. $1,350. Now there's a certain point where they tend to just simplify their bet down. This is probably going to be the point where they start simplifying it down a little bit. Collect 100, go to $1,250. Still not super simplified, but because you're so far away from the table max still, they don't want to just do 1,000. So $1,250. So we're looking at a $62 vig. $62 vig. All right? $1,250 would pay $2,500. $62 vig. Take it out. Why not? There's a certain point where you're just not going to throw the vig in anymore. So take it out. Although most players would actually throw this in. So look at what you got. Once again, look at what you got. Now here's a point where you're probably going to go ahead and simplify it down. The reason you're going to simplify it down is again to keep it, I guess, easy. You're going to go to $3,500. Now the power press player could just go to $3,000 and collect the rest, but what they're looking at is, again, you're looking at trying to get to table max as fast as possible, correct? Well, if you go to $3,000, you're not going to be able to get to table max because $3,000, even if you throw the vig in, pays $6,000. That means you have $9,000 to work with. But if you go to $3,500, well, now you can do it, right? So you're looking at a, let's see, 50, 150. You're looking at a $175 VIG, right? Which you can throw in if you want. In this case, I think we're going to go ahead and take it out. We're going to take out the VIG. So this is going to pay $7,000, right? But we have a $175 VIG, right? So we'll just do 8 1/4 for here. $8 1/4. Guess what you have right here? 10 grand. 10 grand. So you are now at table max. 5 hits. 5 hits to get to table max. After this, at this point now, you are looking at collecting $20,000. $20,000. Got a $500 VIG, so $19,500. Still not too shabby. 5 hits to go from $50 to $10,000 on your bet. Again, this is why people play the power press. So let's look at the 6 and 8. So the 6 and 8, this is going to pay $70. Now, when you're playing at levels like this and you're power pressing, you're going to have to throw in a little bit more. So on the first hit, this player is going to have to throw in $20. And they're going to take their bet all the way up to 150. Now for 150, you typically just start looking at some standard progressions. Just regular presses. So you're going to collect a green, go up to 300 on the second hit. On the third hit, you're going to collect 50. You're going to go up to 600. The fourth hit, you're going to collect 100. Go up to 12. The fifth hit, you're going to collect 200. Go up to 24. Hit number 6. Collect 400. Go up to 48. Now on the seventh hit, 48 is going to pay $5,600. Now this is where you kind of have a little bit of thinking to do. What you have to work with is $10,400. $10,400. You could, at this point, just go ahead and do a standard progression up, 9,600, if you wanted to. You could just throw in the extra money to get yourself up to 12,000, but this is, you kind of got to throw in quite a bit. So what you might do, you might go to 9,000. The next hit, you're definitely going to hit table max, okay? Because 90 pays 105, right? So 900 would pay 1,050. 9,000 would pay 10,500. So when you have 10,500, you definitely have your 12,000 to work with while you're collecting a few thousand. 2, 4, 6, 8 hits. Takes a little bit more. 8 hits on a 6 or 8, and boom, there you go. You are at table max. What about the 5 and 9? Well, the 5 and 9, 50 is going to pay 70, right? Stack it all up. Go to 120. Then from there, you're going to start looking at what is it that I have to work with. Because this one is kind of a pain in the butt bet. So you're going to want to simplify it after this one. After this bet, you're going to simplify it down. So look at what you have to work with. That's going to pay $144. What do you have? You have 200. And 59. Go to 250. So the first hit, stack it up. Second hit, go to 250. Okay. Now the third hit, that's going to pay 350. So let's do 400 for 50. So you have an idea of what you're working with. You've got $600. Go to 5. The next hit, 5 is going to pay 700.
going to pay $1,200 for 5. Go to 1,000. Again, you're keeping your bets somewhat simple for now. For now. You are going to have to make it a little bit complex again at a certain point. 1,000 is going to pay $1,400. Throw in 100. Go to 2,500. Next hit, that's going to pay 3,500. So we will do 5,000 for 1,500 because we're going to be using these checks. And we're just going to go to 5,000. Next hit. 5,000 pays 7,000. Collect 2,000. There you go. 2, 4, 6, 7 hits. 7 hits. And you go from $50 to $10,000. Every hit after that is going to pay $14,000. It's not bad. Not bad at all. That is pretty much what they're going for. Thank you, everybody, by the way, for the coffees. Really appreciate that. And yeah, there you go. That is the Power Press on kind of a mid-level table. $50 minimum bet, $10,000 maximum bet. The third video on this, we will go ahead and show it on a $100 minimum bet going up to a $20,000 maximum bet. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Hope you find it interesting, illuminating, enlightening, or at least just plain fun. We'll catch you guys next time. Bye now. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Sin City Living. My name is Jason. I'm bringing you today's video, which is the third video in our Power Press series. This one, we're going to be showing how the Power Press progression works on a $100 minimum bet going up to, say, a $20,000 maximum bet table. How many hits does it take to bring a number up to table max? Okay. For our patrons out there, we will live roll this once we finished up all 3 videos. Once I finished up the editing, I'll probably live roll this tomorrow. So you'll be able to check it out in a few days on the site. For anybody else curious about that and all the rest of our exclusive videos, check the description of the video down below. Otherwise, let's take a look. So I'm only going to set up 3 of them this time, but we're looking at, typically instead of 120, you're going to do 150 on the 6 and 8. Okay. Now, a lot of players on this actually are going to do 125 on the 5 and 9. This is kind of a standard. In fact, I will set it up now that I think about it, just to show you. This is kind of a standard setup for people that are playing at this level. The reason for it is because aside from the 4 and 10 that have VIG issues, nothing pays in red. Oftentimes when you get up to the higher limits, the white and the red chips kind of vanish, except for, minor VIGs and stuff like that. Because even center action is probably a $25 minimum bet. So people generally at this point only want to be paid in green, red, or green, black, and up. So they'll typically do this kind of setup. Okay, this is 750 across including. And you got 100, 100, 125, 125, 150, 150. So now, let's take a look at the Power Press progression. So we're going to look at the 4 and 10. So on the first hit, they're going to throw in their $5 VIG, and they're going to go straight up to 300. On the second hit, they're going to throw in 15, go all the way up to 900. Second hit is going to be $45 VIG. Right, because at this point they're really not, they're not worrying about that kind of money. That's the equivalent to a couple of bucks for us. So 900 is going to pay 1,800. We're going to pay 2,000 for 200, just because. So look at what you got to work with. 2,700. Just take it up to 25. Just take it up to 25. Collect the rest. Okay. So that was that hit. So the next hit, you're looking at $125 VIG. That's going to pay 5,000. Go all the way up. And the next hit after that. Now, $125 VIG for this right here. And 5,000 is $250 VIG. 250 plus 125, so it's $375. $375. They could throw the VIG in if they want. Why not? So that's going to pay $2,500. Oh, I'm sorry, 10,000. 15,000. Going to pay $15,000. Whew, losing my mind here. Going to pay $15,000, and we're at table max. We're at table max after 5 hits. 5 hits, table max. Pretty simple on the 4 and 10. After that, all you're doing is collecting $40,000 per hit. Now let's move on to the 5 and 9. So for the 5 and 9, we're going to jump over to the 9 over here. So the first hit, they're going to go straight up to 300. Okay. Don't have to throw anything else in, which is kind of nice. Now, the second hit is going to pay $420. Okay? We're going to pay $520 for 100. Player likely just going to go up to, actually no, this is going to be a point where the player is probably going to throw in $30 and go up to $750. So they throw in 30 bucks. Go up to 750. My initial gut instinct was, 30 bucks, but again, players that play at this level, 30 bucks is nothing. 30 bucks is the equivalent to $1 to us. Okay, so 750 is going to pay $1,050. We're going to pay $1,100 for 50. All right, now this is the third hit. So let's look at what the player has to work with. They have $1,800 to work with. Go to 1,500, collect 3. The next hit, this is going to pay $2,100 bucks. Go to 35, collect. The next hit pays $4,900. Let's pay $5,400 for 5 to see what we've got to work with. You've got $8,400 to work with. $8,400 to work with. Likely $7,500 because it's a standard progression. So for the next hit, why is it a standard progression? Why is $7,500? Well, 75 is a standard bet. It pays 105. 750 would pay $1,050. 7,500 pay $10,500. It's a standard bet based on the standard $75 bet. Okay. So what do you have to work with? $18,000. $18,000. Just take it up to $15,000 because the very next hit is going to pay $21,000. $21,000. You're now at table max. And you're collecting over $15,000. 2, 4, 6, 7. 7 hits. 7 hits on a 5 and 9 gets you up to your table max. So what about the 6 and 8? 6 and 8 is going to take, likely at a guess, I'm going to say it's going to take 8 hits. But let's see. First hit, collect the green, go to 3. Second hit, collect 50 bucks, go to 600. Third hit, collect 100, go to 1200. Fourth hit, you're going to collect 200. You're going to go to 24. Next hit, you're going to collect 400, go to 48. Now, the next hit, we're probably going to simplify the bet a little bit. 48 is going to pay 56, right? 4,800 is going to pay 5,600. This is a point where we're probably going to simplify and just do 9,000. 9,000, collect the rest. Why is this a simplification? Because it's, again, a standard progression of a standard bet. Just like the $75 level on the 5 and 9, the $90 level on the 6 and 8 is a very, very standard number. 90, again, pays 105, just like 75 does on the 5 and 9. Right? So if 90 pays 105, 900 would pay 1,050. 9,000 would pay 10,500. Okay? So with your 10,500, what can you do? You can't quite get to table max. Now, you could throw in additional money if you really, really, really wanted to. But there's really no need. Go to 15,000. that was the 7th hit, I believe. So I think I'm off by 1. So I might have added an extra hit in there. I kind of lost track right there, so just take it on out. So we're looking at this here, at this right here, 1,500 or 15,000, right? 15,000 is just a standard off of 150. 150 pays 175, right? So if 150 pays 175, that would mean that 1,500 would pay 1,750, and 15,000 would pay 17,500. So 17,500. So this is where you would go up to $24,000. $24,000. You are now at table max. $24,000. Table max. So there you go. That is the power press on a higher limit table and a much higher maximum bet table. So I hope you guys find this stuff interesting, illuminating, enlightening, just plain fun. Thank you everybody for tuning in. We will catch you next time. Bye now.